Hi, this is Rachel from In the Library of Lady VLA, and this is my vlog review of The Adoration of Jenna Fox by Mary E. Pearson. And that's my copy there. And I'll just read you the blurb off the back. A girl wakes from a coma following a devastating accident, her memory a blank. One day she can't walk, the next she can. One day her right eyelid droops, the next it doesn't. Her parents call her recovery a miracle, but at what cost has it come? What are they hiding from her? Who is Jenna Fox? Just from that sort of made me want to read it. I've been sort of waiting for it to be released over in the UK, and so I could get it off Amazon. And I ordered it the other week and read it fairly recently, and it's a really interesting sort of dystopian novel because it's sort of set in a world like sort of late 21st century. And there's been like a lot of advance in kind of medical areas, but also doctors have overused antibiotics, and there's like sort of viruses and like diseases that have grown resistant to antibiotics, and they're like just wiped out a load of people. So like there've been a lot of problems with sort of all that, and when in this story, Jenna Fox just wakes up from a coma after a year. She was in a serious car accident, and her parents moved her all the way from Boston to a little town in California. And she wakes up not remembering sort of anything about her life before, but stuff starts to come back slowly, and she sort of discovers strange things that she can reel off chunks of history that she can't remember things that happened to her like when she was 5 or whatever. And so she knows something's not quite right, and her mum is trying to sort of keep her from finding out stuff, and she sort of demands to be allowed to go to school because she's still got to finish her final year of high school. And so they enroll into this little tiny school where there's about 6 other students, and they do sort of video conference learning, something with teachers or whatever. And she meets the other people in this group. It's Ethan, who's this kind of sweet, but slightly mysterious guy, and Dale, bit of a bad boy, bit of an attitude. And there's also Ali, who's this girl with 2 prosthetic legs that because she caught a disease, and obviously antibiotics not really working, so they had to sort of amputate both of her legs, and sort of still getting used to the prosthetics. And sort of Jenna's kind of trying to sort of interact with these people when she can't remember stuff, and yet she knows all of what the stuff that's supposed to be teaching, which is a bit strange. And like her home life is a bit odd because her own grandma is sort of acting all kind of off with her and doesn't really trust her or something, and she doesn't really know why, and she's sort of determined to find out. But when she does, it's sort of kind of big shock and really sort of rocks her sense of identity, and she sort of spends a lot of the rest of the book, a very short book, sort of 260 pages, sort of trying to figure out who she is, and it's sort of although there is a slight romance aspect with I won't spoil that, although there is a slight romance thing, it's not really described in detail, and some of the other, and sort of the romancing characters aren't, apart from Jenna, not really terribly well developed, and because it's not really the main kind of thing, it's more kind of Jenna's kind of trying to figure out who she is, and whether being different means she's still the same person that she was before the accident, and she's trying to obviously get all of her memories back so she knows what actually happened in the accident. And it's really quite interesting book. like sort of mostly for the kind of make you think kind of aspect. What makes us human? How much of us do we need to be actually ourselves? And there's also kind of a slightly eerie look at what medical advances could actually do for in the future, whether we could end up having all these problems with antibiotics and all the kind of prosthetic options or whatever, which is quite interesting. So, like, Jenna as a character was really quite interesting. Sort of, there's bits of it kind of her just like in her head, sort of musing type things, which like that bit there. It's like just sort of little pages of kind of almost little verse or whatever, but it's quite interesting. Just getting inside her head, and she's quite sort of got a bit of an attitude with her parents and the whole kind of I don't want to do what you're telling me kind of thing, which is kind of cool. And I loved her grandma as well, Lily, so she's got a bit of snarky to her as well, which is kind of cool. And sort of not very trustful of Jenna at the start, but you start to see that she can sort of warm up a bit, and like the ending was sort of interesting as well, and sort of happy, sort of sad, but overall it's a pretty well-rounded sort of finishes nicely. It's not going to be like, oh god, this is going to be another one kind of thing, and wrapped all up quite neatly in a book from that big as well. So I'd sort of be interested to see if Mary E. Pearson's written anything else, because I liked her style, and although not all the characters were fully developed or explored, but it was a very interesting concept and most enjoyable read. So I gave it 4 stars out of 5, and I definitely would recommend it to other people who like sort of dystopia, sort of futuristic, sort of thrilling kind of novels like that. So pick it up if you want.